Hey everyone, post-production Chloe here. We're skewing from our usual programming this week to bring you an interview that I conducted with writer-director Ann Marie Fleming and lead actress Keira Jang to discuss their upcoming film Can I Get a Witness, which releases on March 14th, 2025. I was incredibly nervous, and this being my first ever interview, I forgot to introduce myself and my interviewees. I don't even think they knew my name. I hope you can appreciate the video and what Anne Marie and Keira have to say in spite of my stomach turning awkwardness. And we'll be back next week with your usual programming. Hope you guys like it. I don't know how to start this.
We
um,
can't. We cannot help you.
Whatever, I'm just going to jump right into it. Firstly, I want to thank you for joining me today and for this beautiful piece of cinema. Can I Get a Witness was my number one film of 2024. I saw it at the Vancouver International Film Festival where Keira and Joel presented the film and was immensely moved by it. I sobbed directly after the showing, which is plain to see in mine my father's Steve Stebbing's coverage of it immediately after. There's a chance that I may have to choke back tears during our interview today. And like I said at the start, this is my very first interview, so I am very nervous. Evidently, the film deals with our impact on the planet, how to minimize it, and the lengths humankind will go to do so. This topic has been discussed and debated for decades. So I'm wondering, has this film been something that you've been working on or thinking about for a long time?
Yes, I first came up with the idea. Well, started thinking about this back in 2006. I lived in the West End, and there was a big windstorm, and 10,000 trees were blown down overnight. And the king tides are coming in. The seawall was getting washed away, and there was all this you know, um, there's this tsunami that hit the west coast of Vancouver Island, and uh, so anyway, there was all that going on, and I kind of had general climate anxiety. You know, I landed up moving from the West End, actually moving to East Van because I felt literally safer here. And also around the early 2000s, the Canadian government was talking about lifting the pension age from 65 to 67. Like, I was not close to 50 then when I came up with this great idea. I thought I was inspired by Jonathan Swift, who's a British Irish writer and social commentator, philosopher, who his reaction to the Great Famine, the Great Potato Blight in Ireland, was this essay called A Modest Proposal, where he suggested the Irish eat their babies because they were having a population problem and they needed the protein. And obviously, this was a dark farce, but people got very upset, but it did what it intended to do, was start a conversation and change laws, um, pointing out predatory landlord practices of the British. And so he was my North Star for this. But when I started writing this, I thought I could get climate grief and sort of anxiety about aging and death together, because they were both these kinds of anticipatory grief that the whole society was going through. Um, that was before COVID, and COVID is the reason why I wasn't at the Vancouver opening, because I had COVID, so I couldn't be there. And when the skies shut down, there were lockdowns all over the world. Governments could work in tandem, and we could all, as human beings, experience exactly the same things at exactly the same time all over the world. I thought the world was going to change, and it did, but I did not think it was going to change the way it changed. And it was before medically assisted medical assistance in dying that we have in Canada. That wasn't even a conversation when I wrote this script in the first place, but it's still a big conversation in the rest of the world. Like, can
Right.
we, should we, do we? And so and now climate, with the extreme weather events and climate change, the front page of every paper. And now with the new administration in the United States, it's just as big a conversation, because there are people that just don't want it mentioned. It's you mention it or not, it's happening. And so we have different ideas about how much human beings have to cause this or control it. but there are 8 billion of us on the planet. Surely we could
Yeah.
do something. And if we take it all the way to 11, and go like, oh, let's all die at 50, well, we're not going to do that. But there are just so many things we can do as a species to mitigate in some little way, like maybe we can't solve all the problems, but we can certainly do our part because we're a part of everything.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely agree. There are also a few things that are brought up in the film but are never fully discussed or are completely shut down, like the result of AI or how the new constitution was decided on. And even the ending is quite sudden, kind of causing a feeling of incompleteness. But I feel that this relates to what it may be like to exist in this reality, uh, being made to leave before their stories have come to their conclusion. And this comparison is quite literal during Sam, Patrick Gallagher's character's end of life event, where Kira's character, uh, cuts him off in the middle of his story in order to complete this event. Was this sense of incompletion that's imparted onto the audience an intended parallel to the lives of these characters?
Oh my God, completely. It's just like that whole thing that Daniel says, how much time is enough, is that we never have enough time. We never have enough time. And we have to act now. We have to say what we want to say now and do what we want to do now, because suddenly it's gone. It's over. And we all know that feeling. We all know the feeling of losing an opportunity, if not losing a person, or, you didn't, it's we're just going forward, and this is gone. And I do like the idea of leaving the questions for the audience. I
Yeah.
want the I want this film to be questions, not answers.
Mhm.
Okay. I expected that answer. During the scene where Kia and Ellie, Sandra Oh's character, are discussing duck soup, Ellie refers to it as a satire. I think the argument can be made that Can I Get a Witness has satirical elements as well. The film talks about how death is a natural consequence of life, therefore, EOL events are natural incidents. But these deaths are not natural. They are manufactured occurrences that are designed to be repeated over and over again. Daniel, Joel Ouellette's character, and other witnesses state that EOL events are not forced upon individuals who reach the age of 50, but they'll be subject to compliance officers if they refuse. Just as Fredonia is ruled by a dictator and Sylvania is war hungry, humanity in Can I Get a Witness presents as if it's synchronized with nature, but is actually still controlling and manipulating its processes. Could this be a commentary on how any and all human intervention is bound to fail or overstep?
Yes. Yes, absolutely. It's imperfect. It's imperfect. And that question about overstepping, and I think that the conversation around COVID so interesting about people who accept or what is overstepping and what is for the greater good. I mean, everybody has an opinion on that,
Yeah.
and I think that a lot of our world now is sort of fallout from disagreements, during that
Yeah.
time. So, um, absolutely, this is not a perfect world. The solutions that are on so many levels that are suggested here are are meant to be questioned. Everything is meant to be questioned. But what is not is the kindness and the civility and the caring and the compassion that people show each other.
This next question is very specific and very possibly insignificant. But in the scene where Daniel and Kia are sitting on the beach after an EOL event, there's what appears to be a bonfire on an islet in the background. Was this intentional or was this just a coincidence of the location?
Oh, that's CGI.
Okay,
That is
okay,
very
okay.
intentional. So what happened is if we had millions more dollars and I was allowed to make this an hour longer. So that's a part of Powell River where there's a big tidal change. So you can walk to that island when the tide is low. So they walked there with Nancy. They, you know, they did their thing, and then they came back, and then the tide came up. It's the end of day, and they're decompressing. They're just talking about how the day goes. But
Okay.
absolutely, that's
Okay,
that's
so
that's Nancy.
oh, it was a funeral pyre. Okay.
Yeah,
I thought it might be that, but I wasn't 1,000% sure.
yeah.
And then my final question. This is obviously a very deeply emotional and thought provoking film. How do you hope that it will impact the average viewer?
Kira.
I just hope that it starts discussions and, allows people to have hope. And I think in order to have real change, you need to have hope, or else there's nothing to look forward to. So I really think that this film does a great job, even with people that I've had conversations with after watching it, to think about their own lives and things that they can change no matter how big or small, just if we work together and see humans for what they are at their core, which is, I'd like to think, kindness and compassion. I think approaching your daily life with that mindset.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. And this film definitely did have that impact on me. I mean, before I kind of didn't really think about how much my daily actions were impacting the world around me, the planet, the environment, the climate, all that. But it took a few days for me to actually fully process this film and to fully understand the implications of it. And I have made significant changes to my everyday life because of this film. And they were changes that I was thinking about doing before, but it was always like, it's a lot of work. I mean, what can just one person do? But in reality, it's not just one person, it's the compiling of multiple people, hundreds, thousands, millions of people.
Billions of people.
Mm-hmm.
There's billions of us. Like everything we do counts.
Yeah.
Yeah. Everything we do counts because we're just all part of this world. We're like part of it. We're not we're not watching, we're not observers.
Yeah.
We're not observers. We are full, yeah,
In it.
fully we're fully participants. So man, I am really, really moved that this film touched you in such a way and that it actually affected change in your own life. Like I could not wish for a better outcome. Like that's the dream for the film. That's the dream.
Lovely. It was so nice talking to you guys. This has been a dream of mine. Just to like since seeing this movie, I was like, I need to talk to them. I need to ask them questions, and I'm so grateful for this opportunity that I was able to do this.
Wow. Thank
Thank you.
thank you. I'm getting all too I'm getting overclumped. Yeah, so tell your dad you did like a great job solo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
That's really meaningful. Yeah. That's like as an artist, that's
Yeah.
that's the best. Yeah.